Listen to me. Too many of you are spending your whole life watching somebody else's highlight reel, scrolling through their victories, living through their journey and forgetting your own. You're clapping for them while neglecting you. You're admiring their grind while ignoring the gift inside of you. You've got to stop comparing, stop competing with people who don't live your life, and start locking in on you. You keep waiting for validation, waiting for somebody to tell you you're good enough, waiting for a green light. Stop waiting. Nobody is coming to save you. Nobody is coming to push you harder than you can push yourself. You've got to learn to wake up every single morning and say, I owe me. Because you do. You owe yourself the discipline. You owe yourself the grind. You owe yourself the life you keep dreaming about. When you focus on yourself, you stop wasting time worrying about what they're doing. You stop looking left and right, and you put your head down and work. And the moment you stop comparing and start creating, your life begins to change. That's when momentum shows up. That's when opportunities open up. That's when you become unstoppable, because your energy is finally invested in your own vision. I need you to hear me, self. Focus is not selfish. It's necessary. You cannot pour into others if your cup is empty. You cannot lead if you can't first lead yourself. You cannot show up for anyone until you show up for you. Focus is fuel. When you lock in on your mission, when you stop being distracted by everything that doesn't move you forward, you start walking in your purpose. And yes, it's hard. Yes, it's lonely sometimes. But listen to me, greatness is lonely. Success requires separation. Everybody can't go with you. Everybody can't see what you see. That's why it's called your vision. Don't get mad when they don't clap. Don't get bitter when they don't understand. This isn't about them. This is about you. Stop saying you want it and start doing the work for it. Stop giving energy to distractions and start giving energy to discipline. Stop feeding everybody else's fire while letting yours burn out. Focus on yourself, because when you get better, everything around you gets better. Listen to me. Some of you right now are giving everything you've got to everybody else, and you're leaving nothing for yourself. You're clapping for everybody else's wins, you're celebrating their grind, you're reposting their success. But when it comes to you, you're empty, you're tired, you're distracted, and I came here to tell you today, focus on yourself. You owe you, not your neighbor, not your friend, not the person you keep watching online. You owe you. Too many of you are wasting your energy on comparison. You're looking left and right, watching somebody else run their race, and you don't even realize you're standing still in your own lane. Stop comparing, start creating. I'm going to say it again because somebody didn't hear me. Stop comparing, start creating. The moment you take your eyes off what everybody else is doing and you lock in on your own purpose, your whole life changes. Listen, when I was broke, when I was homeless, when I was sleeping in abandoned buildings, nobody came to save me. Nobody showed up with a plan. Nobody handed me a blueprint. It was me and my grind. And that's why I can stand here today and tell you with my whole chest, you can't wait for somebody to give you permission to become great. Don't wait for validation. Validate yourself. You don't need their approval to chase your destiny. You don't need their applause to get to work. The green light you've been waiting on, it's you. And let me be real with you. This is not easy. It's not supposed to be. Focusing on yourself is hard, because the world will keep pulling you in 1,000 directions. There will always be distractions. Social media will show you somebody else's highlight reel, and you'll start questioning your own progress. Your friends will want your time, your energy, your attention, even when it drains you. But hear me, focus is fuel. Where your focus goes, your energy flows. And if you keep giving your focus away to everything that doesn't move you forward, you'll keep running on empty. But when you put all of that energy into your vision, your grind, your growth, that's when momentum kicks in. That's when you feel unstoppable. And I need you to understand something. Greatness requires separation. You can't stay in the same circles, doing the same things, having the same conversations, and expect to grow. Growth means leaving some people behind. Growth means walking alone sometimes. Growth means saying no when you want to say yes. It means long nights, early mornings, and moments where you feel like nobody understands what you're doing. And that's okay, because they don't have to understand. It's not their vision, it's yours. Stop waiting for people to clap for you. Stop waiting for them to believe in you. They're not supposed to see it. It wasn't given to them, it was given to you. Hear me, when you focus on yourself, it's not selfish. It's necessary. You can't pour into anybody else if your cup is empty. You can't take care of your family if you don't first take care of you. You can't lead anybody if you can't lead yourself. So stop feeling guilty for locking in. Stop apologizing for taking time to build. Stop explaining why you're grinding. Your results will speak for themselves. But here's the part I love. When you focus on yourself, when you actually put in the work, when you stop talking and start doing, everything around you starts to shift. When you get better, everything around you gets better. Your relationships get stronger, your finances grow, your opportunities multiply, not because you begged, not because you hoped, but because you became the kind of person who attracts success. You don't chase it. It comes to you because you've put in the work to deserve it. And don't miss this self. Focus means discipline. It means you keep the promises you make to yourself. You say you're gonna wake up at 5, then wake up at 5. You say you're gonna hit the gym, then hit the gym. You say you're gonna work on your craft, then do it. Discipline is doing what you said you would do, long after the mood you said it in has left you. You can't keep lying to yourself and expect to win. Every time you break your own promise, you lose trust in yourself. But every time you keep it, you build confidence, you build strength, you build momentum. And I need you to stop thinking it's about one big move. It's not. It's about the small daily choices. It's about the way you use your mornings. It's about the way you end your nights. It's about the way you show up when nobody's watching. It's about the grind you put in when there's no camera, no audience, no applause. That's where the magic happens. That's where champions are made. So I'm asking you today, where is your focus? Are you spending it on gossip, comparison, and distractions? Or are you pouring it into your craft, your growth, your destiny? Because one of those paths leads to frustration, and the other leads to greatness. And you get to choose. No more excuses. No more waiting for the right time. No more pointing fingers. Your life is your responsibility. Your success is your responsibility. Your future is your responsibility. Lock in. Focus on yourself. You owe you. And when you finally give yourself the energy, the discipline, and the love you've been giving away to everybody else, you will become unstoppable. Stop comparing. Start creating. Let me say that again for the people in the back. Stop comparing. Start creating. Because too many of you are losing your life, your joy, your potential, one scroll at a time. You wake up in the morning, and before you even brush your teeth, you're comparing yourself to somebody else's highlight reel. You're looking at their car, their body, their relationship, their career, and you're judging your whole life off of what you see on a screen. But here's the truth. Comparison is the thief of joy. It doesn't build you up. It robs you. And every minute you spend watching somebody else's story is a minute you're not writing your own. You don't even realize how much energy you're giving away. You could be building your dream, but instead you're scrolling through theirs. You could be learning a new skill, but instead you're busy measuring yourself against somebody who started 10 years before you. Stop comparing, start creating. That's the only way you're going to break free. See, comparison makes you forget your own uniqueness. You start thinking you're not enough, that what you have doesn't measure up. But hear me clearly. Nobody can do what you do the way you do it. You were designed with a gift, with a purpose, with a vision that is yours alone. And the reason you feel empty when you copy is because you're not supposed to be a copy. You're an original. Originals don't compare, they create. Originals don't chase trends, they set them. Originals don't wait for permission, they get busy producing. When I was grinding, when I was at my lowest, when I was homeless, I didn't have time to compare. I didn't have time to worry about what somebody else was eating, what somebody else was driving, what somebody else was wearing. I was hungry, literally and figuratively. I had to get mine. And the only way I got out of that pit was by creating opportunities, creating discipline, creating consistency. If I had sat around comparing my situation to other people, I would have quit before I even started. And let's be real, comparison is easy. It's easy to look at someone else's life and say, if I had what they had, I'd be further along. But what you don't see is the price they paid. You don't see the nights they cried. You don't see the hours they sacrificed. You don't see the failures they went through before they posted that success. So stop comparing your chapter 1 to their chapter 20. You're not behind. You're just at a different stage of your journey. Respect your process. Honor your grind. Stop telling yourself you're not ready because you don't have what they have. Stop waiting until you feel like you measure up. Start with what you have, right where you are, and build from there. The truth is, creativity comes when you take action. You don't wait for inspiration. You create it by moving. The more you create, the more momentum you build. And momentum is powerful because once you start, you don't want to stop. And let me tell you this, creation is where confidence lies. Every time you create something, every time you put your work out there, every time you keep a promise to yourself, your confidence grows. Comparison shrinks you, but creation builds you. Comparison says, I'm not enough. Creation says, watch me grow. Comparison is passive, creation is active, and success belongs to the active. Now I know what some of you are thinking. But what if I fail? Listen to me. Failure is part of creation. You can't create without failing. You can't innovate without stumbling. Every mistake is not the end. It's information. It's feedback. It's shaping you, sharpening you, preparing you. You're so worried about getting it perfect that you don't even start. But perfection is an illusion. Progress is the goal. Creation is messy, but it's also beautiful. Stop letting fear hold you hostage. Stop letting insecurity stop you from putting your gift into the world. The world doesn't need another copy of what already exists. It needs you. Your perspective, your voice, your idea, your solution. That's what's missing. And if you keep comparing, you'll never give it. But if you start creating, you'll change not just your life, but maybe someone else's too. Think about it. Every invention, every song, every book, every movement that ever changed the world came from somebody who stopped comparing and started creating. They could have said, there are already 1,000 books out there. Why should I write mine? But they wrote it anyway. They could have said, there are already singers better than me. But they sang anyway. They could have said, there are already businesses like this. But they built it anyway. And because they did, the world was changed. And don't get it twisted. Creation isn't just about art or business. Creation is about building your life, creating habits that serve you, creating relationships that lift you, creating opportunities instead of waiting for them, creating the version of yourself that you've always wanted to become. Every day is a chance to create. Every choice is a brushstroke on the canvas of your life. So what are you painting? Stop wasting your masterpiece trying to replicate somebody else's. Stop living your life as a shadow. You've got one shot at this, one chance to make it count. And the way you do it is not by watching somebody else's lane, it's by owning yours. So today, I'm challenging you, put the phone down. Stop scrolling. Stop comparing. Start creating. Take that first step. Build that idea. Write that book. Record that song. Launch that business. Get in that gym. Make that move. Do something today that invests in your vision. Do something today that brings you closer to the life you were designed to live. Stop comparing. Start creating. Because your future depends on it. Focus is fuel. Listen to me. Focus is fuel. Some of you right now are running on empty. Not because you don't have the talent. Not because you don't have the drive. But because your focus is scattered. You're pouring your energy into too many things, too many people, too many distractions. And then you wonder why you're tired, why you're frustrated, why you're not seeing results. It's not that you don't have fuel. It's that you're burning it in the wrong places. Think about a car. If you pour gasoline into a tank with holes in it, it doesn't matter how much you fill it up. It's gonna leak out. That's how most of you live your life. You start with passion, you start with fire, but because your focus is all over the place, you've got leaks. Leaks in social media, leaks in toxic relationships, leaks in procrastination, and you're wondering why you can't get to your destination. Focus is the cap that seals your tank. Focus keeps the fuel in. Focus directs the energy. Listen to me. When you take all that energy you're wasting on comparison, on excuses, on distractions, and you channel it into one direction, one vision, one goal, you become unstoppable. Focus turns ordinary effort into extraordinary results. Focus is what separates those who talk about it from those who live it. You've got to stop trying to do everything. Stop trying to please everybody. Stop chasing every opportunity that comes your way. Just because it looks good doesn't mean it's good for you. Just because it worked for them doesn't mean it's your path. Success is not about doing more, it's about doing what matters. And what matters requires focus. You keep saying you want success, but the moment it gets tough, your focus shifts. You start strong in the gym, but then you get distracted. You start reading, start learning, but then Netflix calls your name. You say you want to build a business, but then you spend hours scrolling through other people's lives instead of working on your own. Hear me, focus is fuel, but you're wasting it. And don't miss this, focus is a choice. Every single day, you choose what to give your attention to. You choose what gets your energy, and the truth is, whatever gets your focus gets your future. If you keep giving your focus to distractions, then distractions will shape your future. If you give your focus to fear, then fear will shape your future. But if you give your focus to growth, to discipline, to your craft, then greatness will shape your future. Some of you are one shift of focus away from a breakthrough, one shift away from the next level, one shift away from a completely different life. But you've got to stop giving your energy to things that don't serve you. You've got to be intentional. You've got to decide, this is where I'm going. This is what matters. This is what I'm building. And then shut out the noise. Hear me. Focus doesn't mean it's gonna be easy. Focus doesn't mean you won't get tired. Focus doesn't mean you won't feel like quitting. Focus means that even when you feel all those things, you keep your eyes on the prize. Focus means when the world pulls you left and right, you hold steady. Focus means you discipline yourself because you know where you're going. You ever seen a magnifying glass in the sun? That sunlight by itself is warm. But when you focus it through the glass, it becomes fire. That's what your life is. Focus is fuel. Too many people are running on empty, not because they don't have talent, not because they don't have the drive, but because their focus is scattered. They are giving a little bit of themselves to everything and everyone, but never enough of themselves to the one thing that truly matters. Focus is fuel, and if you don't protect it, you will burn out before you ever reach your destination. Life will always offer you distractions, it will always throw noise in your path, and it will always test how badly you want the life you say you want. Focus is not a luxury, it is survival. Without focus, your potential leaks away like water in a broken jar. Every day you wake up, you are given energy, and where that energy goes decides what your future looks like. Some people use that energy to chase gossip, to scroll endlessly, to compare themselves to others, and then they wonder why their dreams never move. Others take that same energy and direct it like a laser. They wake up with clarity, they block out distractions, and they pour their energy into the things that will take them forward. That is the difference. The same fuel, the same hours in a day, but one wastes it and the other invests it. Focus is the difference. When you focus, even small steps become powerful. When you scatter your focus, even big steps go nowhere. Think of sunlight. Spread across the sky, it warms the earth, but put it through a magnifying glass and it burns. That is the power of focus. Some of you are not failing because you lack ability. You are failing because you are trying to give your attention to 10 different things, and none of them are getting your best. You cannot do everything at once, but you can do one thing with excellence, and that one thing can change everything. Focus is fuel, and fuel must be directed. A car with a full tank goes nowhere if it is parked. A mind with all the ideas in the world goes nowhere if it is distracted. You must channel your focus toward action, discipline, and consistency. Success is not about what you start. It is about what you continue. And the only way to continue when life gets tough is to have the focus to remind yourself of why you started. Distractions will always seem louder than discipline, but the results of focus always speak louder in the end. When you decide to focus, people will test you. Friends will call you boring because you're not wasting time anymore. Family might not understand why you're not available for every little thing. The world will tempt you with shortcuts, with easy wins, with things that look good but take you nowhere. But you must decide, do you want approval or do you want progress? Do you want to be liked for the moment or respected for a lifetime? Because you cannot have both. Focus demands sacrifice, but what you gain on the other side is greater than anything you give up. The reason so many people quit is not because they are weak, but because they are unfocused. They let their attention get pulled in too many directions until their vision fades. They forget what they started for, they lose sight of the finish line, and eventually they give up. But when you are focused, quitting is not an option. Focus fuels you when motivation fades. Focus keeps you moving when your feelings tell you to stop. Focus is what allows you to endure pain, rejection, and failure, because you know where you are headed. Do not underestimate how powerful your focus is. Every time you give your attention to something, you are feeding it. If you feed your doubts will grow. If you feed your fears will grow. But if you feed your vision, your discipline, your goals, those will grow. Energy flows where focus goes. If you want a better life, focus on building it, not on complaining about the one you have. If you want stronger relationships, focus on nurturing them, not comparing them to others. If you want success, focus on doing the work, not on wishing for the results. Focus is fuel, but you must use it wisely. It is limited each day. You cannot give it to everything. You must decide what truly matters and pour yourself into that. You must decide what deserves your energy and what does not. The more you waste your focus on distractions, the less fuel you have for your destiny. But the more you protect it, the faster you move toward the life you were meant to live. There will always be distractions. There will always be noise. There will always be something trying to steal your attention. But if you can learn to block it out, if you can discipline yourself to say no to what doesn't matter, and yes to what does, then you will have all the fuel you need. Because focus is not just about attention. It is about power. It is about choosing where your life is going. It is about directing your energy like a force that cannot be stopped. Focus is fuel, and if you hold on to it, nothing will be able to stand in your way. You will fall, you will stumble, you will fail, but your focus will get you back up. You will be doubted, you will be rejected, you will be misunderstood, but your focus will remind you of who you are. And when everyone else has quit, when everyone else has given up, you will still be standing because you had the fuel to keep going. Focus is fuel. Protect it, guard it, use it. Greatness requires separation. Too many people want to rise but refuse to separate themselves from the things holding them down. You cannot soar while you are chained to the ground. You cannot climb while you are carrying the weight of every distraction, every excuse, every toxic connection. If you want to be great, you must be willing to separate yourself from the comfort, from the crowd, from the noise that keeps you average. Most people never taste greatness because separation feels like loneliness. They fear being misunderstood. They fear walking away from what is familiar. They fear standing alone. But hear me clearly. Loneliness is not the enemy. Stagnation is. The cost of staying where you are, surrounded by the same voices, the same habits, the same environments, is far greater than the cost of separation. You cannot become who you are meant to be if you refuse to let go of who you used to be. Greatness does not live in comfort zones. It lives in sacrifice. It lives in discipline. It lives in the quiet hours when everyone else is asleep and you are still grinding. It lives in the choices no one else understands but you. When others are partying, you are preparing. When others are wasting time, you are building. When others are chasing validation, you are chasing purpose. And in those moments, separation becomes your superpower. Because while they are standing still, you are moving forward. While they are distracted, you are focused. While they are comfortable, you are becoming. Separation is not just about people. It is about patterns. You must separate yourself from old habits, from destructive routines, from the cycles that keep you repeating the same year over and over. Some of you keep saying you want change, but you live in the same rhythm, doing the same things, expecting different results. Greatness requires you to break the cycle, to separate from the version of yourself that settles, procrastinates, and makes excuses. You can't step into a higher level with the mindset of your lower self. And let me tell you, separation is not easy, it hurts. It feels uncomfortable, it feels like loss, but it is not loss. It is exchange. You are not losing friends, you are gaining clarity. You are not losing comfort, you are gaining growth. You are not losing who you are gaining who you were always meant to be. The people who cannot go where you are going were never meant to be part of that chapter. The habits that cannot survive in your new life were never meant to stay with you. And the environment that makes you feel safe but keeps you stuck was never meant to hold your greatness. Greatness requires you to say no when it would be easier to say yes. It requires you to walk away from conversations that waste your time. It requires you to ignore the temptation of shortcuts and cheap approval. It requires you to separate from comparison, because you cannot walk in your own lane while staring at someone else's. Your path is yours and yours alone, and the only way to honor it is to separate from everything that distracts you from it. Separation is the bridge between who you are and who you can become. Think about an athlete preparing for the Olympics. Do you think they live like everyone else? Do you think they eat whatever they want, sleep whenever they want, waste time on distractions? No, they separate. They train when others relax. They discipline themselves when others indulge. They push their limits when others play it safe. And that separation is what allows them to stand on a stage the world watches. Greatness is not random. It is the product of intentional separation. Some of you are scared of being different. You're scared of being judged. You're scared of walking alone. But I promise you, every great man and woman in history had to walk through seasons of separation. They had to be misunderstood. They had to be doubted. They had to leave behind what everyone else thought was normal, because greatness is not found in the crowd. It is found in the courage to step away from it. But understand this, separation is temporary. You will not always be alone. You will not always feel misunderstood. Because once you separate and grow, you begin to attract the right people, the right opportunities, the right energy. Your tribe will find you, but only after you find yourself. And you only find yourself when you are willing to separate long enough to hear your own voice above the noise. So if you want greatness, you must decide what you are willing to separate from. Maybe it's the friends who keep you small. Maybe it's the excuses you keep repeating. Maybe it's the comfort you've been hiding in. Whatever it is, it's holding you back, and you cannot carry it into your future. Separation is the price. But the reward is worth it. Because on the other side of separation is transformation. On the other side of separation is clarity. On the other side of separation is greatness. Every sacrifice you make, every distraction you cut, every moment you choose discipline over comfort, you are building the life you were created for. And when you finally arrive, when you finally achieve what you set out to do, when you finally stand in the fullness of your greatness, you will not regret a single separation. You will see that it was never about losing. It was always about becoming. Greatness requires separation, not because the world is against you, but because you must stand apart to stand out. Not because you are better than others, but because you are becoming better than the version of yourself that once settled. Not because it is easy, but because it is necessary, so separate. Separate from the noise, separate from the comfort, separate from the patterns that keep you stuck, and step boldly into the life you were meant to live. Don't wait for validation, validate yourself. Too many dreams have died because someone was waiting for approval. Too many lives have been wasted because someone was waiting to be told they were good enough, smart enough, talented enough, worthy enough. Let me tell you right now, if you spend your life waiting for others to clap for you, you will miss your moment. You will miss your calling. You will miss the very life you were designed to live. The truth is, the world does not always see your vision. The people closest to you may not believe in you. Your family might not understand you. Your friends might laugh at your goals. And if you're waiting for them to validate you before you take a step, you'll stay stuck forever. You cannot outsource your worth. You cannot borrow your confidence from someone else's approval. If you want to move, you must move without the applause. If you want to grow, you must grow without the recognition. If you want to rise, you must rise without permission. Validation is an inside job. When you validate yourself, you free yourself from the chains of other people's opinions. You stop living in the shadow of their expectations. You stop waiting for the nod, the like, the comment, the pat on the back. Instead, you look in the mirror and say, I am enough, I am capable, I am worthy. Because the truth is, no one else can give you that kind of permission. They can encourage you, they can support you, but at the end of the day, it has to come from you. Think about it. Every great leader, every great innovator, every great artist had to validate themselves before the world ever believed in them. People told them they were crazy, that their ideas would never work, that they weren't good enough, but they didn't stop. They didn't wait for someone to stamp their dream with approval. They stamped it themselves with discipline, with action, with belief. And eventually the world caught up. Eventually the world gave them the applause, but the applause came after the work, not before. Too many of us have it backwards. We want the recognition before we put in the effort. We want the approval before we take the risk. We want everyone to tell us it's a good idea before we even start. But that's not how greatness works. Greatness is lonely in the beginning. Greatness is misunderstood. Greatness often looks foolish at first. If you can't validate yourself in the silence, you'll never last long enough to hear the applause. Stop waiting for validation from people who don't even understand your path. Stop waiting for approval from people who have never walked in your shoes. Stop asking for permission from people who gave up on their own dreams. They cannot see what you see. They cannot feel what you feel. That vision was given to you, not them. That fire burns inside of you, not them. So why should their opinion outweigh your purpose? When you validate yourself, you become unstoppable. Because now, your energy is not tied to someone else's reaction. When they doubt you, you keep going. When they criticize you, you keep going. When they ignore you, you keep going. Because you already decided in your spirit, I'm enough. I can do this. I believe in me. And that belief is the fuel that carries you through rejection, through setbacks, through silence. The world is full of people who are waiting for the right time, the right words, the right encouragement. But time doesn't wait. Life doesn't wait. Opportunities don't wait. And if you are standing still because you're waiting for someone else to tell you it's your time, you will miss it. You must declare your own time. You must validate yourself enough to say, I don't care who's watching. I don't care who's clapping. I don't care who's doubting. This is my moment and I'm taking it. And yes, there will be times you feel insecure, times you feel unworthy, times you wonder if you really have what it takes. That's normal. But in those moments, you must be your own voice of validation. Don't wait for someone else to talk you into believing in yourself. Look at the work you've put in. Look at the resilience you've shown. Look at the progress you've made. Remind yourself that you are capable. Remind yourself that you've overcome before and you can do it again. That is what self-validation looks like. You don't need a certificate to start. You don't need applause to keep going. You don't need a cheerleader to chase your dream. Everything you need is already in you. The discipline, the drive, the resilience, the vision. But it only works if you validate it. It only works if you look at yourself and decide, I am worth investing in. I am worth fighting for. I am worth the effort it's going to take. The people who succeed in life are not always the most talented. They are the ones who stopped waiting. They stopped waiting for someone to discover them. They stopped waiting for someone to believe in them. They stopped waiting for perfect conditions. And they validated themselves enough to start where they were with what they had and build step by step until the world had no choice but to notice. So don't wait for validation. Don't wait for the likes, the comments, the applause. Don't wait for someone to pat you on the back. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Validate yourself. Validate your vision. Validate your dream and take the first step, even if nobody claps, even if nobody believes, even if nobody sees. Because one day they will see, one day they will believe, one day they will applaud. But none of that matters if you don't validate yourself first. Don't wait for validation, validate yourself. Your destiny is waiting. Your greatness is waiting, and it's waiting on you, not the when you get better. Everything around you gets better. Too often, we are looking at the outside world, wishing it would change, waiting for circumstances to improve, waiting for people to treat us differently, waiting for life to finally give us a break. But the truth is, the world does not change because we sit around wishing for it to be different. The world changes when we change. The circumstances shift when we shift. Life gets better when we get better. If you are unhappy with the results in your life, don't start by blaming the world. Don't start by pointing fingers at the people around you. Start by asking yourself, what can I do to become better? How can I raise my standard? How can I grow in discipline, in focus, in patience, in resilience? Because when you grow, your relationships grow. When you grow, your opportunities grow. When you grow, the quality of your life grows. Think about it. If you want better finances, you don't just wish for money, you become better with money. You learn new skills, you manage your resources wisely, you make better choices, and as you get better, your financial situation begins to shift. If you want better relationships, you don't sit around hoping someone else will magically become perfect. You work on yourself. You communicate better, you love deeper, you become more patient, more kind, more honest. And suddenly, the people around you respond differently. The relationship gets better because you got better. The world is a mirror. It reflects back to you who you are. If you are constantly negative, bitter, and angry, the world will give you more reasons to be negative, bitter, and angry. But if you decide to rise, if you decide to take responsibility for your growth, if you decide to get better day by day, suddenly the reflection changes. The energy you put out shifts, and the energy that comes back to you shifts as well. Too many people want the fruit without planting the seed. They want the promotion without putting in the work. They want the respect without showing integrity. They want the reward without the sacrifice. But life doesn't work that way. Life gives to you what you give to it. When you give growth, when you give discipline, when you give effort, life responds with opportunity, with blessing, with transformation. When you get better, you start to see solutions where before you only saw problems. You start to find opportunities where before you only saw obstacles. You start to attract people who are on the same wavelength, people who challenge you, people who inspire you, people who help you grow even more. Your circle changes, your environment changes, and it all starts with you. The beautiful thing about getting better is that it doesn't just serve you, it serves everyone connected to you. When you improve yourself, you become a better parent, a better friend, a better partner, a better leader. You start to inspire others simply by the way you live. People watch you grow, and they realize they can grow too. People see your discipline, and they are challenged to raise their own standards. People see your light, and it sparks their own. Your growth creates a ripple effect, but here's the key: you cannot fake it. You cannot pretend to get better on the outside while staying the same on the inside. True growth is internal first. It's when you build stronger habits. It's when you control your emotions. It's when you take responsibility for your choices. It's when you discipline your body, your mind, and your spirit. And as that inner growth happens, the outer world begins to shift. Ask yourself today, what area of my life do I need to get better in? Maybe it's your health. Maybe it's your mindset. Maybe it's your work ethic. Maybe it's your patience. Whatever it is, the moment you choose to grow in that area, your whole life will start to feel different. Your energy changes, your confidence changes, your perspective changes, and with that, everything around you starts to get better. This is why personal growth is not selfish. It is one of the most selfless things you can do. Because when you get better, you are able to give more to others. You show up stronger. You show up wiser. You show up with more capacity to serve, to love, to create, to lead. The world doesn't just need you to exist, it needs you to grow. It needs you to get better. Because when you rise, everyone connected to you rises too. Stop waiting for the world to change. Stop waiting for other people to improve. Stop waiting for the perfect circumstance. That waiting keeps you stuck. The power has always been in your hands. You are the change. You are the shift. You are the key to a better life, and it starts the moment you decide, I will get better. So commit to the process, commit to growth, commit to becoming 1% better every day. Read the book, learn the skill, wake up earlier, push yourself harder, control your thoughts, master your emotions. Build your discipline, because as you get better, watch how your life transforms. Watch how your relationships heal. Watch how your opportunities multiply. Watch how your dreams move closer. When you get better, everything around you gets better. It's not magic, it's alignment. Life rises to meet the standard you set. Raise your standard, grow yourself, improve yourself, and you will see with your own eyes that the moment you elevate, everything connected to you elevates as well.